'Cause we are cartoon buffoons, make the homies say ho and the girlies want a goon. In this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons, I'm your host Wyatt, and who is here with me today, as always?
Hello, I'm Morgan. I was Assy McGee's partner who died right before retirement.
And we're here to talk about another programming block that aired on Cartoon Network and still airs on Cartoon Network, and frankly, is the only healthy part of that network at the moment. Adult Swim.
All kids out of the pool. All kids out of the pool. Come on.
Yep. Like Louis C.K. said in those ads.
Oh, fucking God. I forgot it's Louis C.K.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he was in home movies. Like, he's like part of early Adult Swim. But basically, just like with Toonami, I didn't really want to do every single show that like aired on like other programming blocks that were in Cartoon Network. I just wanted to mainly focus on Cartoon Network Studio stuff. But this is such an important piece of the puzzle to like understanding the network, and there are certain shows that I do want to highlight at some point later on. Like if we're ever bored and we're like, yeah, we need a filler episode or something like that, we could always be like, all right, let's talk about... I mean, we already talked about Space Ghost, which was great. Yeah, we could talk about home movies. We can talk about, like, Cowboy Bebop. We can talk about whatever, Dragon Ball, of course, Mission Hill, things like that. But for this, like, I just want to, again, just do a kind of general overview of Adult Swim, which is obviously way too big to talk about everything in one single podcast, but that's why it's just going to be a general overview of it. But Morgan, I want to ask you, what is your history with Adult Swim, and like what are some like fond memories that you have, like your first years or whatever getting into it?
Oh my God. Let's think. My first memories of Adult Swim are, I remember, like I vividly can remember right now when it was about to come out.
Oh, cool.
Like the ads and it's like one of my earliest memories. I remember like the ads about it, and like the very bare bones and stripped way it was done. Like everybody knows like the bumpers now and like the black screen with the text and the funny jokes, but it used to just be films and like footage of a pool.
Yeah.
With like some announcements and stuff. Like you didn't even know it was like adult cartoons if you like caught it late at night. And I was able to, and I remember going, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
This is so cool. And it's funny because my mom, like, I remember for a long time I wasn't allowed to watch home movies. Because I think she caught home movies on the first few nights of Adult Swim late at night. Yeah. And home movies isn't that inappropriate, like when you go look back at it. But it's like it has more than like old cartoons did, like the kid cartoons did, and it was just like, this is it.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like you're saying, like adult cartoons up to this point were just like Simpsons, and like Family Guy and stuff like that. And like those early seasons of Family Guy are a lot less edgy than like when they would come back.
Yeah, because they're all like they're still like PG-13 at that. Like they're made to be seen with a whole family still.
Whereas like, and then even like Space Ghost, like we talked about that way back at the beginning of Cartoon Buffoons. That like the early episodes of Space Ghost, there's like no swearing in them. And then like it isn't until the Adult Swim stuff that they start like peppering in like the cursing and everything. But Adult Swim to me, like it felt like another step above like the Simpsons and Family Guy and everything.
Yeah.
Like those late 90s era of like adult cartoons. Like this felt like it was going a little bit deeper and being a little bit more transgressive, I guess.
And like I think like after that we start getting stuff like Aqua Teen and like I think even before like other stuff they did show like Cowboy Bebop stuff on Adult Swim early on into it, which is like crazy. And I just if you're anyone who knows me and knows like how I talk and behave and how I make jokes and how I crack jokes, This era of comedy is it. Like,
Yeah.
um, I like my sense of humor is. I know people go, my sense of humor is broken. Not in like the millennial way where like they're full of shit. It's not really broken. C Lab 2021, home movies, and the Brack Show broke my sense of humor. Like it fully did just fuck up everything. Like Aqua Teen Hunger Force also. Like, if you saw these shows, you were like so twisted. When it comes to what you find funny sometimes.
C-Lab, we talked about this, I think, when we were talking about Space Ghost, but like C-Lab is so fucking good because it's so annoying and it just pisses you off and wastes your time. Like there are episodes that you're just like, why did I watch that?
Yeah, it's
like
just
why did I just spend moments of my precious life watching this garbage?
Like Adult Swim also, so many of the shows thought false finishes was funny.
Yeah.
Like so many of the shows would go, oh, that's the episode, and would end 2 minutes in, and then it would be like blackness, and they would come back. I don't know why. C-Lab did it. Like Space Ghost on Adult Swim did it. The Brack Show did. I don't know why they thought it was funny. They were right.
Yeah,
they were right. It is very funny.
Brack Show, like that's another thing where it's like, I can't believe this show exists. Why the fuck would they make a show about Brack from Space Ghost as in like a sitcom situation?
I am a hunk of meat. I love you, baby.
Like why would they have Birdman be an attorney at law? And why are there Hanna-Barbera characters like going to court?
Why is Birdman in a sexual relationship with Boo Boo and he finds out Boo Boo's the murderer? Like I don't. But like to this day, like there's like the Brack Show. When I was in high school, God rest their souls, everyone who like had to deal with me. I like had the Brack Show, like the song that what's the name of the mantis? I know his name. My brain's going blank today. I'm
Zorak.
Zorak singing the "I'll Kick Your Ass" song was my ringtone. And I was my first key switch because they don't want to hear, I'm going to kick your ass until your head falls off. Then I said, okay, I'll switch it. And then I just had Zorak singing, my heart is filled with so much hate for your stupid clothes and your stupid face. Like, it's just the dumbest comedy, but it rules.
Yeah. For me, Adult Swim, I, like, probably was when I first got cable was when, it like so like 2002 2003 so like a year or two after it started, so there's like some very early things that I haven't seen. Like I'm looking through the list here, like I never saw Pilot Candidate, which is like a really shitty anime that they aired, like Tenchi Muyo and stuff like that. I didn't see until later. I do remember Baby Blues and Oblongs and Mission Hill, the shows that are like not made by Cartoon Network, but were like bought and then aired on Cartoon Network. And like, it just is so funny looking at, because like Mission Hill, one of the greatest shows ever fucking made.
Yes,
just like one of my absolute favorite shows. And putting it next to this garbage it's just so funny. It's like I'm not saying like these shows are bad in like a derogatory way.
No, but they're garbage and like that's what they're going for. They're going for garbage.
Like Aqua Teen Hunger Force is the first episode they are detectives and then never again. Like they have a premise to begin the series and to get people to think that the show is about something, and then it's never ever about anything other than like, what if you lived in the shittiest roommate situation possible in Jersey
with no bathroom?
And I just like seeing that. It just kind of warped my mind. I think it was like this was so formative because I was so young.
Yeah,
I was like 8 years old or whatever,
and it felt secret. Like you felt cool staying up to watch it. Like I can't express to like how like I think kids are exposed to a lot now, maybe too much. But like before the internet, staying up late and watching the cartoon where they say the shit word was like the coolest fucking thing you could do.
Yeah, and you would always be like, "Oh my god, I gotta turn it down real quick."
Yes,
gotta
yes,
turn down
yeah.
the volume.
And have the
so that
back
my
button
mom
ready on
doesn't
your
hear it.
computer. Have the back button ready on your controller so you can switch to a channel that you're allowed to watch. Like it was, oh god, it's so good. Also, not to mention that like watching this stuff, like there's like we talk like there's a lot of garbage, and like while we like did the episode of Toonami last week, a lot of like formative but bloody anime was also on early Adult Swim. They were very quick to go like, hey, because the thing is, though, Adult Swim felt like Mike Laszlo going, man, I control this. I can do what the fuck I want, like, and not like in a bad executive way, and like a fuck, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can put on any anime he enjoys. It's great.
Yeah. And just like it is funny how much there is like a cross between, because like stuff like Pilot Candidate, like I mentioned, bad show, boring as hell robot show, probably just got it as like a cheap purchase, and like some of these are like Yu Yu Hakusho, one of my favorite anime ever made, obviously. But like that was a show from the 90s, so that they probably got it for cheap. A lot of these are for like they probably got for cheap, but then there are some where it's like, like the Gundams, like the Inuyasha, which was airing at the time, and then like shows like Outlaw Star and Trigun I just like so associate with like staying up late on Saturday night and
same thing with like
PS2 games, basically,
like those
playing PS2 like late into the night, and then like being like, oh, the commercial's over, let me switch back and watch Outlaw Star or Trigun or whatever.
Same thing with like Wolf's Rain. Like there's a lot of anime that like to this day I hold in esteem in my brain of like getting me like locked in on some stuff. And I think it's all Adult Swim. Like Toonami's definitely like the nicer version of it, right? Like you watch these shows, but Toonami's like shonen focused for the most part. There's a few Gundam shows, but they're shonen focused.
Yeah, like there's stuff like Ghost in the Shell and stuff. Like you think about that. Like I still think about like the opening theme to the Ghost in the Shell anime as like one of those things that you just like hear, like if you're going to sleep in the middle of the night and then you're watching Cartoon Network and you just hear it like in and out of consciousness, like the second Inuyasha ending.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up, because I love that everyone on Earth has the second Inuyasha ending, like just like being half awake and just like I cannot express how Fukai Mori is maybe the greatest anime ending song of all time. It's not because I heard it when I was waking up. It's because it's just fucking beautiful. It brings you into a mood that you're like, damn.
I feel the same way in like Full Metal Alchemist. The opening. I think it's like the second or third opening that they play as like the first opening for some reason. The like Ready Steady Go, like that's very like locked into my brain. Well, excuse me. For like songs that you would hear in the middle of the night, and then like I even remember, because like when I first started watching Adult Swim, it was just like, all right, here's our original programming and it's all trash, but then there's stuff that we bought or whatever, that we're just like airing. I remember like when it started to be like the balance started to shift and they started to like make it more just original stuff. Venture Bros, huge one, and that's one where it's like, my God, I can't believe that Venture Bros 20 years old, like over 20 years old, ended last year.
Like, did they know they had the greatest cartoon of all time? Did they know they had like?
I don't know. Yeah, Venture Bros is almost so good. I want to do like a separate episode just talking about it.
It's the only cartoon I've ever gone on my way to own, like physically. Like I was in high school and I like was out with a friend and I'm like, they have Venture Bros on DVD and they have some of the seasons and I only have like $40, but I'm buying this shit. It's the greatest cartoons to ever exist. Like
and the commentaries are really good because like some of them are actually informative and some of them they're just like
bullshit. The voice actors have fun. It's great. I think, speaking of like Adult Swim, before we get into like Adult Swim proper, I think one of the coolest things before Adult Swim, which is funny enough, is that right before Adult Swim, I mean maybe during, Toonami like did a soft run of stuff that was going of the vibe of Adult Swim a little bit. I don't know if you remember it. They did like a thing called the Midnight Run where they were going to do like this, like a late night thing where they just would have music videos that were all animated. Like it was the first time I saw the Gorillas, by the way, that night.
Yeah,
the first time I saw that Punk.
Oh yeah, we should have talked about that on the Toonami episode.
We did.
The fact that the Interstellar 55 or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and like I remember watching that and going, "This is sick." And I actually had like a weird episode being a child watching that, like 7, really. My mom got mad at me because she came home and I like did a bunch of weird shit on the house and like drew on the walls. It's whatever, but I remember seeing that and going, "Wow, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen." And I'm glad that like Adult Swim very much kept the vibe of that. Like music's still important to Toonami even to this day, right? But Adult Swim is like kind of the music thing on cartoons. Like to this day, like remember the trend on TikTok where everyone had like a song and they said it felt like an Adult Swim bumper. Like the fact that Adult Swim bumpers and the music of them have enough personality where people can hear a song and go, "This would be an Adult Swim bumper," is kind of crazy. Like I think like it's like the way we talked about Toonami was like a vibe and like an energy and a feeling and a time block last week.
Yeah.
Adult Swim more so than anything. It feels like being in a basement but not quite a party. It feels like being in a basement with your friends talking weird shit and listening to cool music.
That feels so right because like I just have a lot of nostalgia for going to my aunt and uncles who live in Buffalo, and they had like a condo with like a finished basement and everything. They're not like rich, but like, you know, 6 figures, so doing better than us.
Rich enough,
And so like going down to that basement, my uncle, you know, is just basement is filled with like shelves of, you know, TTRPG books and Warhammer miniatures and things like that. And like just sitting there watching TV down there in that cool basement, surrounded by like all that nerd crap. It just was like I just have a lot of nostalgia for like watching Adult Swim and like watching in like 2004 to like 2012 or whatever, like that section of time. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that's another thing that I want to ask is that for me, I was very consistently watching it like throughout all of my teenage years, but I would say like right towards the end of high school when I was like 17, 18, like in 2013 or whatever, I stopped watching it, and I think part of that was because of not having cable, you know, was like a big one, obviously, but even like when I would go to a friend's house or whatever, like we would just watch shit on YouTube, you know, instead of watching
and like that kind of became the vibe of Adult Swim in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that people just kind of switched over to that because when we were in high school, and like the 2012s and stuff like that, it was rough watching TV. Like TV was definitely falling out. Like, and now it's back because everyone realized streaming services are the devil. But the idea of like I could just get this thing and they have a bunch of movies and shows I can watch, and like that was just everyone's mindset. I don't need cable. And I didn't miss it. I think, around that time is when I definitely wasn't watching Adult Swim as much as I used to. I think the fall off came earlier because, listen, I have a lot of nice things to say about Adult Swim. Like a lot.
Yeah.
The best quality of the show and also one of the worst qualities of the show is that they will give anything a chance.
Yeah, there is some fucking garbage. That's like actual bad shows that are
like we call Aqua Team Hunger Force garbage in like a nice way. Like it's garbage. That's what it's going for. There is just sometimes Adult Swim is the most aggressive. Like it's like unfriendly architecture of television. Sometimes like they'll go, it'd be funny. What if we play 3 episodes of Saved by the Bell in the middle of Adult Swim? Like no one wants to see this, and they're like, well, that's why we're doing it because we think it's funny.
Or like Gigantor and stuff like that.
And I'm like, listen, you guys are right. It is funny inherently, but also, don't you want to make money? And Mike Leslie goes, no, we just hate you
Yeah.
guys. I'm like, thanks. Oh, the Chuck Norris cartoon. This is fucking dog shit. Please, like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
I do feel like that. I will say this. I want to ask, because there was a lot of people that I feel like at the time were upset at, excuse me, stuff like Tim and Eric and Saul the Mole Man and whatever, like those first few live action shows that were airing. I never really had a problem with that, just because like there was like a bit of a novelty in it, and especially like Saul the Mole Man. Like I was already like a fan in like a So Bad It's Good of Land of the Lost, which is what it's sort of parodying.
yeah. So Saul of the Mole Man was not funny to me. Did not work. For me.
Yeah.
However, I am one of maybe 4 black people on Earth who find Tim and Eric funny.
Sure.
So when my friends were like fucking pissed about Tim and Eric, I'm like, guys, I don't know what to tell you. This shit's funny. They're like, no, it's not. Says, no, this is what I do. I sit on you. Sit on you. Sit on you. This is what I do.
I mean, we would get the black version of Tim and Eric a few years later with the Eric Andre show.
Yeah,
so.
no, we would. But like, you can't believe how hard of a sell it was to get other black people to watch Tim and Eric when, like, it's like, listen, and I mean this with the most utmost respect in the world. It is white boy shit.
Yeah,
That show is white boy shit. Capital W.
It feels like the beginning of like that humor would like mutate and evolve into like Filthy Frank or something like that, you know, like that's what
don't do those Philadelphia legends like that. You're right, but don't do those Philadelphia legends like that. But yeah, I do think it's great that like other shows that suck shit, like Xavier the Renegade Angel, are getting a second birth now.
Yeah,
but like,
I fucking love Xavier Renegade Angel.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, the thing is though, I think even though like executives nowadays are like trying to mush down everything to a fine paste of what will make the most audience people like it. There's something admirable about people putting stuff on a TV channel, even like old stuff they have reruns of, or like new stuff going. How can we make a channel that is as entertaining as it is fucking aggravating? And I think that's beautiful. Like it's because the thing is, though, you're in on the joke. Like you're in on the joke. Like it's not like just you're being bothered. You're in on the joke. Like no channel can go from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place to Code Geass except for Adult Swim.
Yeah. And Adult Swim. One thing that I really like about it, like talking about Venture Bros, there's a few other shows that I can think of off the top of my head, like Venture Bros, Metalocalypse, and Moral Oral are ones where like the joke almost is that the show goes from like, oh, this is funny to like, oh fuck, this is like serious now. And like I'll say that with Moral Oral, like those final seasons, like the final season specifically, like has funny moments, but it just becomes extremely like dramatic, you know, and in a I mean it's great, but
it's like it's one of the greatest cartoons of all time. It's rough, man. It's like
but I think that its existence sort of is the joke, you know. Like I don't think they were making it with the intention of it, like the content being funny, but rather like in a meta sense, it's funny that this show that started so goofy became like more dark and serious. And in the same way, like I think that kind of like embodies where Adult Swim's always at, is that they're always trying to like twist your expectations of anything, including themselves.
Yeah.
That by the time that you get to you know, like Joe Pera, it's like, oh, the joke is that there is no joke. This is just like a genuine, heartwarming show. Like, yeah, Connor O'Malley is basically himself. Like, he's just playing like this comedic version of himself in the show, and that's like crazy. But I mean, if you go to his YouTube channel and watch like his comedy on his YouTube channel, it's way crazier than anything that's in the show. So even that's like a toned down version of that. But like,
yeah, I
fucking love Joe Pera, by the way. I actually just went to see him live like back in June. Which
I
was
threatened
like
violence
in
against
Buffalo.
Wyatt. I was so fucking
Yeah,
angry. I
yeah.
wanted to see Joe.
Yeah, because he's from Buffalo, so I was like, oh hell yeah,
But like, I think Adult Swim. I think the thing that makes Adult Swim so good is that even beyond the like types of shows it has on it, how they're all over the place, stuff like that. I think Adult Swim will craft your taste in a way that like a lot of TV doesn't want to anymore. A lot of TV wants to have the thing that's liked by everyone to come and see it, right?
Yeah.
Adult Swim will be a show in a block where you will know what you like and what you don't like very clearly. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that an entire TV block might not be for you. I think it's fantastic because like I remember like when I got to like the high school age, I would just like, oh, let's turn Adult Swim on. I'm watching these episodes. Oh, there's a show I doesn't like. Okay, I'll be on my phone or writing or doing something else, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's nice that like I think I would not have the strong taste and understanding of like what I like, what I don't like, and how even stuff I don't like can still be good.
Yeah.
You know? Like to this day.
I feel that. Like there's a lot of times where like Wolves Rain or stuff like that where I was like, this is quality, but I am not interested
exactly
like in watching it. And then same thing with like, there's some shows where that like Venture Bros, like even like Frisky Dingo and things like that were like, I can tell this is like really funny, but I'm not there yet, so I have to like grow a bit, because that was like 9 or 10 when those shows came out. So like I had to like become a teenager to start to like really get. And like it wasn't until I'm like 28 or whatever rewatching through Venture Bros recently that I was like, oh yeah,
this is the greatest cartoon of all time.
Yeah, I get these jokes now.
Like I stand by this. I think you should rewatch Adult Swim stuff. Like everyone on Earth. I think the minute you hit a new age with a 0 at the end of it, rewatch Adult Swim stuff. Yeah. And I don't know because like rewatching that stuff at 20, hilarious. I'm about to be 30 soon. Rewatching some of the Adult Swim stuff at like 25, I did it. Like I had to go back to Philadelphia to live with my mom for a little bit because I wanted to get some stuff straight and I wanted to help her on her job. And when I was there, I decided to sit down and watch all of Joe Pera.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this doesn't seem funny to me. And by the end of it, not to be too much. One, Joe Pera, hilarious man. The show's funny. I love it so much. I cried. There's parts of Joe Pera. The last episodes of Joe Pera made me cry. I feel no shame saying it because I don't. There's. Yeah. What you gonna say?
I was gonna say season 2, like this I mean spoilers, but the stuff with the Nana, and then like the ending of that season was like. I've watched it like 3 times and I still like am bawling at the end of it. So it is just, yeah.
And like I watched part of it like with like my partner Kathy's seen some of it, and like it's a show that even if you don't think it's funny, I think there is a level of understanding and deep transitionalness. That's not even a fucking word, Morgan. Whatever. To all of like a lot of Adult Swim, and I think Joe Pera is a great example of that in the modern sense because. He's so... I don't know how else to say it. He's so 30s, you know? He's so in his 30s. And I think you'll watch and go, this show's boring. And then he'll talk about Dragon Ball Z in the most casual old man kind of way. And you go, wow. I don't know. Growing up's not that fucking scary.
Yeah.
Joe Pera did it. Like, and I think there's so many shows like that. Like, a lot of them are goofy and weird and strange. But I think there's something warming to watch China, Illinois, and know that you're gotten older and your sense of humor has changed, but also the poop jokes are just as funny as the political jokes in that show. And there's something great about watching Aqua Team Hunger Force and knowing the silly humor still hits you. There's like this weird but fantastic connection that Adult Swim can give you that reminds you that you are still at the same time that 10-year-old kid sneaking it as you are that 29-year-old who's existing and stressed out right now. You are those people in equal measures. And I don't know. I know it's like a lot to say about this very goofy channel, but when I was rewatching this stuff, like I like really went back through home movies and all of it. I got really emotional. I'm like, wow, I
fucking love home movies.
I am me at all times I've existed. And I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah. I'll say, like, I'm thinking about, like, the way that Adult Swim like relates to like people I know and people in my life, and like even something like the Boondocks, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I have a lot of nostalgia and love for that. You know, a little bit about my personal life is that my big sister, she's black, and she.
It's not me. It's not me. It's his
Yeah,
other
not
sister.
her. Yeah, not her. But she, and I'm very glad to have that, you know, be the case because she was always like, little white boy, you should not be saying, you know, don't say these things. You know, you can laugh, but like, don't repeat the things.
You can't
know,
say that,
like,
white
okay.
baby. You can't say that,
Yeah.
white baby. You can't.
So like, I'm just glad to have that because like trust me, a lot of kids in like middle school and high school that were Caucasian did not care about that. And I'm just glad to have this experience where I'm like, I know that you should not be saying like racial slurs or ableist slurs or things like that, you know, just because of my specific upbringing. And like whenever I think about Boondocks, I think about her in the sense of like, that was just like us watching and enjoying it. And like even Family Guy is something that she really loved. And like, yeah, that's the kind of, I don't know, that I have like those weird or like very personal connections to like these very unassuming shows and like parts of my life and everything like through, you know, through Adult Swim. It's just like such a fascinating like cultural artifact.
Yeah.
You know, and like going through it, like just going through like this list here and seeing like just how many, like you just keep scrolling. Just so many good shows, like Delocated, crazy. Amazing, hilarious show. You know, oh Clerks. That's where I first saw the Clerks animated series. Was, you know, when they re-aired it on Adult Swim.
Like I think also the amount of these shows, like as you scroll down this list, that means something to me is insane. Like I thought, like like maybe like, you know, a third of these are gonna mean something. No, man, like dude, like a lot of these fucking shows, like it's so wild, like, that this happened. Like, Adult Swim happened, and, like, it remains to this day. The fact that it's, like, the healthiest thing in animation on television right now is, one, not surprising, because it was made so artist and, like, animation focus forward, you know? Like, it's about the animation. But also, it's kind of crazy, because, like, this shouldn't have worked. This should have been a niche thing that Cartoon Network says, well, we gave it a shot and they stopped it in 2009. But that's not the case. Yeah.
No, in a way, it's become more, it's like the network now. You know, it is basically like what the network is at this point, because Cartoon Network itself is so like lifeless. Which I'm, this is crazy. The entire time we have been friends, I've always been annoyed at people on the internet that are like, Cartoon Network's falling off, blah, blah, blah. Because there's plenty of good stuff that was airing. You know, we became friends in like 2013 or whatever.
Yeah, we used to get pissed at people with that stupid fucking image.
I was like, Clarence just came out, you know, and that's a hilarious show, you know, things like that. And then like time goes on, and like I feel like we were like really ramping up and like hitting like a really good stride with animation, not just on Cartoon Network, but like in other places. And then now it just feels like all at once, like 2022 came around, and then it just like has been collapsing into the fucking fires of hell. And Cartoon Network is in such a bad place because all of the Cartoon Network shows are just being put onto Adult Swim. So there's like a bunch of shows where like My Adventures with Superman is a Cartoon Network show, but they're airing on Adult Swim. And
for no reason.
Girl, Cartoon Network show that they're airing on Adult Swim.
For no reason.
You know? Yeah, and like the only reason I can think of is that people like they just know that like more people are going to be watching Adult Swim than Cartoon Network, so they're just using Cartoon Network as like a dump channel. Yeah, you know, I think, and they're still not airing the final 4 fucking episodes of Craig of the Creek. Please just air them. And I don't know. It's just, it's sad to see that, because I love Adult Swim, but I also love Cartoon Network, even though there's a lot of problems. We bitch about them every single week.
Every
on this show. So, but I still, I wouldn't have made this show if I didn't care about it. My criticisms are from a place of love.
Like, I think the thing is that, like, Adult Swim always became the channel that can take risk,
Yeah.
So later time slot, it's not super important to the prime time. It's for the niche people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that networks have taken the wrong cues from that. They took the cues of like, oh, people watch this because it's the risky thing. Well, we could just throw a show on there that we're not going to sure is going to succeed, and people will be happy with it. We don't have to like think about if it will do good in the prime time. And I'm like, buddy, the reason people keep watching this is because you keep doing experimental shows. You could put this on the prime time. You could give these shows chances. Like it. Listen, I think it's so cool that Adult Swim is a channel that gets chances. It doesn't have to be the only one. And also, they're still trying to take the wind out of its wings. Like we all these years of waiting for the Uzumaki project.
Yeah.
And then you cut off most of its budget and time.
That is depressing. Yeah. This is the first episode. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be amazing!" And then next episodes are like, "Oh my god, what happened?"
And they're like, "Well, we ran out of time because they took all our money and time and resources." And I'm like, "Fucking hell!"
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me that like we've seen what peak performance from Adult Swim is. We've seen it, and they're just like, "Yeah, we'll give you a little bit," Like, no, you gotta let these channels breathe and do what they want to do. Like, you gotta like let these guys be the strange channel it wants to be, and. I think it's cool that it still exists. I'm glad that we're still getting like duo projects and like the fact that we have like such a strong simulcast, like with anime on Adult Swim. It's truly the most amazing thing that happened there. But I don't want that bubble to burst. Like Adult Swim Adult Swim will only be kind of healthy if the entire ecosystem is healthy. We can't keep putting every single fucking show onto it because it won't last.
Exactly. Like those shows are great, but they're not, they're not meant for that channel. So like, or that network or that thing. Like that's why, like, there was a lot of positive discussion about, Superman when it was airing, like the second season recently. Yeah. But there was also an equal amount of people that are like, what? This is on Adult Swim. There's not enough violence. There's not enough swearing. They were expecting it to be like Invincible. Basically, and it's like, well, it can't be that because it wasn't fucking made. It was made for a children's channel, and then they just aired it on Adult Swim, kind of like against their will, just because of the whims of like whatever network. They're like, no, we have decided that this channel is only for like literal baby shows, like Thomas the Tank Engine and the Batmobile talking car show, and reruns of Teen Titans Go and Amazing World of Gumball. That's the only things that you're going to be watching on Cartoon Network. Adult Swim, they get all these things that are like, again, like good shows, but not meant for Adult Swim. And then the actual original Adult Swim shows like Smiling Friends are like phenomenal. Like, they are phenomenons too, because like Smiling Friends season 2 was airing. It was like, I haven't been that jazzed about like a new cartoon airing in so fucking long.
Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking about it.
And it's just, it's like, it's purely Adult Swim. Yes, it has some of that like internet newgroundsy humor in it, but like, one, all of that humor was just them copying Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And two, like, they're expressing like artistic creativity. Every single episode there's some weird fucking guest animator that shows up. There's some like weird thing, like it's just like it's very experimental and interesting show. On top of being very funny. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll never forget when I watched Smiling Friends. I was like, this is a really good cartoon, definitely made by someone with some really racist DMs on Twitter. But the thing is though, and look, I know I'm very woke. I'm not saying that as if the show should be out. I think the show definitely needs to be made because we need that stuff. I think that like when it came out and I watched, I was like, man, Adult Swim still has the juice. Yeah, it still has it. Like Adult Swim was anime focused for a minute. There was a time where Adult Swim we're big anime, like we're doing Naruto, we're Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But seeing this, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we still got the juice. There's people out there.
And,
like, yeah. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good that, like, that sense of humor that made people be funny in a specific way has wrapped around to those people who were kids watching it are now making things. And we need more of that, dude. Like, I can't express it to people to go like this. Why are cartoons bad nowadays? Bro, I promise you, creatives exist who are funny and cool. They are not being given the money and resources to do that.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, Adult Swim is like a great haven for that kind of stuff, you know, like obviously the anime, and then going back to its beginning where it would like bring shows back from the dead basically and just like give them a second chance. But then there's an examples of like, oh, not only did they bring back Tuca and Birdie, but they like bankrolled more seasons of the show. And then it's like, oh, that's awesome. That's crazy to think about in like our modern time of like a streaming show got canned and then a network is what brought it back from the dead. Like that's the opposite of like Futurama gets canceled, then Hulu brings it back, you know, like that kind of thing. And I just like think about, you know, that dichotomy and everything, like them having that, like even like Samurai Jack, you know, like bringing that back and like everything for another season, and like actually tuning the show to be appropriate for
Adult Swim. Yeah,
Adult Swim, you know, like that's an important part of it, is that they didn't just sit on their laurels. And like, yeah, obviously people have their problems with that season specifically, but like us. I wouldn't, you know, I do like Gurren Lagann, of course, but didn't need to copy the ending of it. Also, in general,
oh my god, it really did copy the ending of Gurren Lagann. Yeah. I'm not playing right now.
But like okay, here, yeah. Okay, yes. I think the ending of Gurren Lagann, even though it's sad, works because both Simone and Nia are accepting of like her death, and they're like just glad that they got to live, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna get into that.
It's fine. It's good. It's good. But yeah, like their ability to like bring cart shows back and make them keep going and see what's happening. Like a lot of shit. Like listen, look, like Adult Swim's, like I think Family Guy's really cool. Like revivals are needed for cartoons sometimes. Sometimes cartoons need a second swing to really hit the ground running. Side thing about like all of this, I know we have talked about him before, and I do not want to say he's a perfect man because he's not, right? Unironically, we need Mike Lazo back in a way that cannot be written down on paper. I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. Like literally, you can see animation go down when he retired in 2019. I think it's crazy that you could visibly see it happen.
Yeah, I feel like that's when the troubles started at Cartoon Network. You know, it was like Mike Lazo retiring from Adult Swim. Like, obviously, he probably wasn't like super involved with Cartoon Network at that point, but like, you know, people do pin the blame on David Zaslav, which he should die. Like, they should eat his flesh. You know, like, don't worry, I'm not like brushing him under the rug or whatever.
No, that motherfucker's still the devil. Like,
yeah, but like there are other like outstanding issues that like he's just exacerbating about like our current industry and like the philosophy of art and everything that's happening. And like I can at least always rely on Adult Swim to continue to like push boundaries, even if they're not like always perfect as far as, you know, shows that they release or
but like,
you know, sometimes they make things and you're like, okay, I don't know what, like some, you know, like the jellies or whatever, it's like, who fucking cares about that? Or
whoa, that's
right.
anti-black. Let's sit back. Let's step back a little bit. Let's step back a little bit. Little white man. Let's step back. Okay, let's chill out. No, but seriously, like
Jen Locke here.
Not Jen Locke. We can slander, but like I was saying about like Mike Laszlo though. But like he was an executive who appeared on cartoons voicing himself. he like was part of the team for Primal. Apparently, he and did some final animations for Smiling Friends before he was gone. Like, we don't have that kind of passion from executives. Full stop. And I think we kind of need at least a little bit of it in order for this to work. And like, I don't know, man. I truly do not want to give one guy credit, and I don't think it's just him, right? I just think that his existence, power, and position allowed people to do things. There's a reason why Robot Chicken Adventure Bros and every cartoon under the sun that aired on there was like, hey, Mike, you want to come on and voice somebody? Can we make someone look like you? Like, who do you know has a good relationship with their fucking executives? No one. No one.
Like, oh, what happened? Venture Bros, a show that was only going downhill, like the entire time, like viewership-wise. It was very good, but overall, but like the viewers just kept on going downhill. Any other fucking network would have canceled that show at like season 4. But like, it's just so good that it doesn't matter if it's not bringing in all the viewers. It's like Prestige is like lifting the quality of the entire network.
Exactly.
As soon as he gets canceled in 2020.
Yeah, and that's not like an accident. Like, that's like obvious. Yeah. Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm very sick.
Yeah.
But like, that's like
we're both sick.
Yeah. This is a sick episode, which is good for Adult Swim. You know, being sick late at night. Watching. But like, that's like not an accident. You know, like, we know why that happens. We know how it is, and it's just, I don't know. We need people who are going to fight for cartoons who might not make enough money, but also are good as hell. We need someone there to fight for that. Like, I don't know. On a more lighthearted note, we have to talk about one of the most influential things Adult Swim does, which is their April Fool's jokes.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you don't know, Adult Swim every year for April Fool's does something insane. For example, 2006, I'm reading the list right now. Instead of airing Full Metal Alchemist or Ghost in the Shell, instead of airing the normal shows, they showed the Chuck Norris cartoon.
Yeah.
And then they showed episodes of Full Metal Alchemist and replaced a bunch of the noises with fart sounds. So you couldn't even enjoy the episode if you were like looking forward to an episode. Fucking evil. The one that like everyone knows about is when they did for April Fools, they had just Toonami happen again.
Yep.
Like, they just had like Toonami happen. And like, wait, this is just Tom. Why are they just doing Toonami? And it was so popular, they brought Toonami back.
It was like end of the Cell arc. You know, Gohan versus Cell.
Like the hypest things you could think of.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I was like, oh my god. And it was like that original Funimation dub and everything, even though this was like after the point that Kai was the thing. And I remember the fucking, like when they aired the Aqua Teen movie as like a little thing in the corner of the screen. They're like, we're going to air it on TV. Check this out. And then they aired the whole movie, but it was just like silently in the middle of the screen as like other shows were going on.
There's a good one where for 2016 they like, oh, you guys keep posting about how cool our April Fool's jokes is. Well, get ready for this year. They did bumpers and ads for the April Fool's joke for 2016, and then they did no joke and they just aired it normally. I'm like, oh, you guys are fucking evil.
That was really good.
Was it last year or like the year before they did puppet episodes? So they would air Smiling Friends. They aired like 3 episodes of Smiling Friends, but instead of like the normal episode, it was puppets. And they just redid the episode with puppets, which I think is just fucking cool. Just the coolest shit. Like,
and they also aired the first episode of season 2.
Yeah.
Which was with Wembley, which was like fucking outstanding beginning of that season. Yeah,
They also had a
swear to God, if I had my Wembley gun on me right now.
They also had like a interactive game one year where it's just Aqua Team Hunger Force, and they would put coins on the screen like a video game. And if a character walked over it, they would give it a point. And it's just like the most intrusive way to watch television.
Yeah.
And every single time, it's so funny. Like, and the thing is, some of the jokes are a lot of work, like the puppet one or stuff like that. And then they're like this, yeah, we just superimpose a mustache over all the characters that's on TV today. How's that? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, it's the perfect balance of like, we put a lot of time and effort into this. Into who gives a fuck? Fuck you.
Yeah, there. I remember like Adult Swim Junior, where they made like baby versions of like all the Adult Swim shows. Like that was a couple years ago, and that was like right when Cartoon Network was like, yeah, we're gonna pivot most of our daytime programming to like preschool stuff. It's like fuck. I mean, I will mention, you know, this we won't talk about the show until way later, but among those shows, We Baby Bears, which isn't actually
it's pretty good.
It just has baby in the name.
Yeah, it's just a longer version of the baby skits they did in the original show.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm gonna say very, very good. So very good show. We'll talk about that like 3 years from now, or however long it takes us to get to the end of the list. But yeah, that was, you know, Adult Swim. And they also just did, like, those kind of pranks randomly throughout.
Yeah.
You know, like the infomercials, which would be just, like, at first they just started as, like, oh, haha, it's, like, a funny parody of an infomercial. And then it just started being, like, insane shit. Like,
yeah, just, like, horror
this house
movie
has people
quality
in
shit.
it. Yeah, and, like, Too Many Cooks is probably the most famous one. Joe Pera got a start on as an infomercial. Too Many Cooks, so fucking funny. It's just like when I remember like watching it, it's like one of those things that like you watch it and you're like, this is funny, and then it goes on and you're like, okay, this is, you know, and then it just keeps going for so long and gets so ridiculous that it just like wraps back around to being very funny.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, they would, and, like, what was that one? Unedited footage of a bear where it's, like, you see, like, a bear for, like, 30 seconds, and then the rest of it is, like, this super long commercial that turns into, like, a horror movie with, like, doppelgangers, and, you know, like, it's just very good.
Yeah, I think, like, I guess one of the last things we'll talk about, and we'll talk about this when if we do Aqua Team Hunger Force in the future, but one of the things I loved about Adult Swim is its lack of fanfare. I'll never forget the second to last episode of Aqua Team Hunger Force has like them going on a mission and dying, and like Meatwad Goes to the Future has kids and stuff, right? And then the final episode airs and goes, wait, this is it? Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it's just a normal episode. Yeah, we're doing a normal episode. Who cares? Like, it does have the best joke, which is the Bible that says the Bible. You damn, like, that is like the best joke to end your show on. But I do love that like so many Adult Swim shows just don't have any fanfare. They just kind of end. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's like it matches the nature of what Adult Swim's supposed to be, you know?
Yeah. I think so. Like, I would say, you know, even shows that I would love to like if there ever had a chance to make more episodes of like Mission Hill or something like that, great. But, like, where it ended, you know, with, like, it's like that 1-2 punch of the episode about Kevin's birthday and going back home and then realizing, like, the things that you, like, that nostalgia sucks, you know, like, you can never go back to your childhood, all that stuff. And Kevin and Andy, like, bonding over that is, like, a really good ending, and then the actual final episode that aired with the gay couple that were like, you know, they made like a shitty film, and then it got like a revival screening and then became like a big joke, and that like super good ending. Like I feel very satisfied
like
by how that show turned out, you know, like even though it didn't. And then same thing with like, I mean, I'll say it, Futurama did not need to go beyond the episodes that aired on Fox. I think that it was totally fine where it was, you know, where it ended. Like, yes,
and I like some of those. I like those other endings too. But like, But yeah, I think also like and I do want to talk about home movies in the future. But yeah, home movies ending, no joke, made me keep creating. It made me keep creating. Like it's such a nihilistic ending too on home movies, but it's nihilistic in a beautiful way of like, yeah, your camera broke and you can't make movies anymore, but do you really care? You're young, you'll find a new way to be creative. And I'm like, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, this thing that you thought would be your dream,
Your
know,
whole
is
life.
like is your whole life, and who is your personality or whatever. Is just like maybe it's not it.
It was your life at a part of your existence. And like, to be honest, I watched that when I was leaving the culinary world, and I was like, stop working in restaurants. And it's like, I still love cooking. Brennan still loves movies, but it doesn't have to be his life. And I'm like, fuck, man. I
shows
think
up in Clarence. He's a rental store clerk in Clarence.
I just think there's something beautiful about how much the nature of being an artist is all over Adult Swim, and I think that's great. And how the endings work, and how everything works, and the art, and the music, and the special music days they have on the channel, where like you have like, I wouldn't know about Thundercat if it wasn't for Adult Swim. I wouldn't know about Daft Punk. Like, it shapes my it shapes my music taste.
Yeah.
It shaped my comedy taste. We cannot underestimate how.
I mean, like, for me, like, Boondocks, that was another. That was like big in that, and like Samurai Champloo, those kind of, that, like, the lo-fi hip hop was like soundtrack in my life for my teen years. And then even like now when I'm drawing and stuff, I'll be like,
that same kind of vibes,
like New Jabez in the background.
Like, I don't know, it's like, it truly was a station made to stimulate you as a creator. Like, I think that's like the thing about it. Like, I think the dichotomy of Toonami to Adult Swim, which is great because we did these two episodes, the way to end this, is that you see something on Toonami and you want to draw it, right? But I think Adult Swim and its dumb TV shows in the back puts me in the mindset to draw, if that makes sense. I see Justice League, and then when fucking Aqua Team Hunger Force is on in the background, I'm trying to draw the Flash. That's like where my brain was at 15, I think. Yeah,
because Toonami is like, Dragon Ball and Justice League and stuff. These are so cool. These are so high quality. I want to make something like this, but I don't have the talent to make something like this. And then you watch Adult Swim, and it's like, look at this.
Yeah, it's
you
like,
can do it. You can just take the first step. Like, you will suck at first. I promise you. You're going to suck for a long time, but like, of course you are. You've never lifted a weight in your life and you think you can lift 500 pounds.
Exactly.
You have to start somewhere. So like Adult Swim, just like Cartoon Network, it feels like it's like perfect for Cartoon Network, and it takes it like even a step further into like that digital age of like, here you go. You can make cheap, crappy Flash cartoons, and it's like that, and that's good enough. You created something, So that's like the rise of Flash cartoons in like the mid 2000s.
Because of this, Because like the things, I think if shows like Aqua Team Hunger Force and other stuff weren't so open about the shortcuts and stuff they take, right? It wouldn't have made people want to draw as much as it did. Like, hey, why does stuff explode? We don't want to animate it anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is honestly, fuck yeah, dude. Like, we reuse this footage, we reuse all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you do.
Like 12-ounce mouse and stuff like that.
Yes,
like,
12-ounce.
I remember like from an interview with one of the artists on the show, he said that the point of the show was not to draw it bad, but to draw it in a way that nobody has ever done before. And that's a very different way to think about it, is that like you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just cheaply made and crudely made and bad or whatever. But like there is like a methodology to why it looks
like it does.
Yeah, like things are made to like look weird and unique, not necessarily like, aha, it's bad because it's poorly drawn or whatever. And like, and that's the thing, is that I feel that too. Like I've been like, since the summer and everything, I've been like dabbling with animation and like experimenting with like storyboarding and things like that, animatics. And I realized that like sometimes you can just make a frame of an animatic a crappy drawing, and that's just like vaguely,
dude, get it out there, just get
like
it out.
What it is, just to finish it, just to like, don't worry about it, don't, it's fine. like when you go online, you see people that are like, "Oh, we took this song from fucking Hamilton or Wicked or whatever, and we animated like our characters over it, like in an animatic." And it's like, yeah, that looks great. You know, it's not full animation, but it's like, oh, there's so many poses and there's so much work going into it. It is like, this gives you a false impression of what like an animatic should be.
Yeah.
And like what animation needs to be, like that low level of animation, you know, in the behind the scenes or production side, like just take the first simple step, just make a quick shitty slideshow, and then, you know, keep doing that, and then you'll slowly like build up the talent and confidence and everything that like
and skill. Like it's a muscle. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
It is a muscle. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great way to end the conversation on Adult Swim. Obviously, I want to talk about some of these shows.
We will
a little bit deeper at a later point, but I feel like, you know, there's just like a lot of groundwork to cover, and this is, not only are we sick right now, which obviously I didn't plan to be sick right now, it's just that we're going into the holiday season with like Thanksgiving and, you know, Christmas and everything.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that we had a bunch of like easy softball episodes, so that's why it's like Toonami, Adult Swim, and then next we're of course doing Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer.
God, I fucking hate you.
And then I told Cody, because we recorded something earlier, that we were doing 8 Crazy Nights as well, of course, for after Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer. And he was like, that movie is really fucking bad, Wyatt.
No, I'm glad all our friends know that you hate me. I'm glad all our friends know that you hate me. Let's fucking... I've had enough of this. Let's do the outro. I hate
you. Yeah, all right, Morgan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Girl Next Door, all one word. Blue Sky is still kicking for now.
Yep.
For now, I'm on it. I'm using it a lot, but please know that I'm working with the Phantom Troop, and we will be having a Requiem up in that bitch. It will be gone. You can also find me on Tumblr at Girl Next Door, and I'd say my Twitter is locked now. I'm not really fucking using it anymore. I've had enough of Elon Musk and his weird South African ass.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to find a URL to see all the past information, all you have to do is watch every episode of Aqua Team Hunger Force. Take the first letter of every single word that Master Shake says when he screams, specifically, and you'll be able to get a secret code that goes to my account. Wyatt, where can we find you?
Well, you can go on over to Twitter and check out Wazp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. Also, I'm now on Blue Sky. I haven't posted there much because I've been sick. The past it basically, as soon as I was like, all right, let's make Blue Sky, I've been like bedridden, so not doing that. Like haven't posted much on there, but I will start posting on it. Hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, I'll have, I'll be posting on there and everything. But that's also Wazp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. It's mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but you can find me talk about videos I'm making and podcasts I'm working on, including this one. If you're listening to this on the Patreon, thank you so much. If you're listening to this on the free feed, for just $3, you can get the Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer episode right now, if this is new. And just check. I'm sure that will be a great, totally worthwhile episode of the show. Won't be 30 minutes.
I'm saying slurs. Guys, I'm cursing. I'm calling Wyatt bad names. I'm going crazy on that one, guys.
Well, here's the thing. I have a long history of forcing my friends to do bad things for the holiday season. Like with Nikki, we did Bible Man. We did the TMNT like Christmas special. Okay,
but like this is like boring. Like Grandma Got Ran Over Reindeer is nothing. Like at least.
But that's a Cartoon Network. That's a Cartoon Network staple, though. So that's
I'm gonna staple you to a wall with a gun.
It was either that or all of the other reindeer is the only other one that I was like,
oh my fucking god, that's so much better than Grandma Got Ran Over. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, it is much better. But we're not doing that. We're
well, it's like, that is a better movie. Too bad, bitch, and just fucking slap me in the face.
But yeah, so that will. Wait, am I done with my?
No,
intro?
yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't talk about the robot show you do with.
Oh yeah.
Wild
Welcome
Creature.
Pod, $1. On
Guys, we are
Patreon.
sick. I'm
If you
sorry,
only
we
got
are sick.
The
Like,
$1. Sorry, got completely distracted. But yeah, $1 on Patreon. Welcome Robot with me and Wayne. Go through and review every single robot in existence. Cody and I sometimes record podcasts. Don't know if that will continue, but we do. I mean, we just did one on all 3 of the Terrifier movies, which was a lot of fun because, like, I was like, yeah, let's just do it. We watched them recently, and then, got to like talk about them. Art the Clown, great guy. But anyway,
I don't know if that's true, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all. We will be well next episode. I won't. Wyatt will.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh God.
And we're gonna fucking sue the pants off of Santa. So
Goodbye,
peace out.
everyone. Later.